You have already studied the simple present tense of one verb. Do you remember the verb? That's right, to be. What did you learn about the verb to be? How many forms are there? Do we say, I be happy today? You be? He, she, it be? We be? You be? They be? No, we don't. We don't use the verb be or the word be, but it changes depending on the subject. So with I, we say, in the affirmative, we say, I am, you are, we are, they are, he is, she is, it is. And then we have the noun or adjective. In the negative, we say, I'm not, you aren't, we aren't, they aren't, he isn't, she isn't, it isn't. And then you have the noun or the adjective. What kind of verb is it? It's a action verb. It's a linking verb. It joins, it connects. What does a non-action verb do? A non-action verb connects the subject with a word that gives information about the subject. So let's look at an example. My sister is married. What is the subject? Sister. Very good. What word gives us information about sister? Married. Very good. So, how is married connected to sister? That's right. You have the verb to be. It connects the subject and a word that gives information about the subject. Now look at this. Her husband is a doctor. What is the subject? Husband. What information do we have about her husband? Yes, a doctor. Now, how do we put that in a sentence? We need to put the verb to be because the verb to be connects the word doctor and husband, and doctor gives us more information about the subject, husband. Now let's look at some other verbs. Drive, text, cook, walk, kiss, eat. These verbs tells us the action the subject does. So, for example, my father drives to work every day. The subject is my father, and what is the action? Drive. I text every day. The subject is I, and what do I do every day? What action do I do every day? Text. My mother cooks every day. Subject, mother. What does she do? What is the action? Cooks. My brother walks to school every day. Subject, brother. What's the action? Walk. The little girl kisses her mother every day. What is the subject? Little girl. And what is the action? Kiss. The dog eats hungrily. What is the subject? Dog. What is the action? Eat. So these verbs are called action verbs. Action verbs show movement. These are not the same like the verb to be because non-action verbs like be connects a word, noun or adjective to the subject. to give more information about the subject. It doesn't show movement. Happy, there's no movement. Teacher, there is no movement. But when you say Tina is a teacher, no movement with is. But Tina teaches every day. There is movement. There is an action. So teaches is a verb, an action verb. The verb in affirmative statements has two forms in the simple present tense. Remember, forms means the way it looks, how you write it, and also how you say it when you speak. So let's take a look at the verb work. With the verb work, you say, I work every day. You work every day. We work every day. You work every day. They work every day. So the verb is just the word work. There is no S. So that is one form. The verb with no S for I, you, we, you, they. But now we have the second form, the way you write it, and the way you say it. With he, she, and it, we need to add an S. So we say, he works every day. Liz works every day. The computer works now. So this is the second form. Now sometimes instead of putting the S, you need to write ES. So you're going to learn the spelling rules of verbs with he, she, it in affirmative statements. So we say, he watches TV every day. She watches TV every day. And sometimes you can say IES. Sometimes there you write it with IES at the end of it. So we say, he sometimes cries. She sometimes cries. So as you can see, we have verb with no S, that is one form. And then we have verb with the last letter S, and that's another form. I'm going to tell you about my morning routine. But before I tell you about my morning routine, let's look at some verbs that I use. Ring. What action does an alarm clock do? It rings. So in the morning, my alarm clock rings. After it rings, I hit the snooze button because I want to go back to sleep for 10 or 15 minutes and then the alarm clock rings again. But then finally I have to get up. So I yawn, stretch, and then I wash my hair. And after I wash my hair, I dry my hair and I get dressed. So, my morning routine. Every morning when the alarm clock rings at 6 o'clock, I hit the snooze button and stay in bed for 15 more minutes. When the alarm clock rings again, I turn off the alarm, yawn, stretch, and get out of bed. I brush my teeth, take a shower, and wash my hair. After my shower, I dry my hair and get dressed. I go to the kitchen and turn on the TV. I drink a glass of orange juice, eat breakfast, and check my email. Then I drive to work. So all the words in red, they are verbs, and they're all action verbs. Now, a lot of the verbs don't have an S, and some have an S. So let's find the verbs that have the S. Yes, alarm clock rings. So the action is to ring, which means to make the sound. And what is the subject? Alarm clock. And so it rings. So we say the alarm clock rings. And then we have another one that gives us information about alarm clock. Now, all the other verbs, for example, I drink, there's no S. Why? That's right, because the subject is I. And when you use I, there's no S at the end of the verb. Do you remember what else we use when the verb has no S? I drink, you drink, we drink, they drink. But if I want to use he, she, or it, yes, we need to say S. He drinks, she drinks. The simple present tense is used to talk about an action that is repeated. For example, an action you do every day. I take a shower every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's also used for an action you do one time a week. I go grocery shopping on Sundays. So we say I go grocery shopping every Sunday or on Sundays. It's also used for an action you do two times a week. I do the laundry twice a week. The simple present tense is used to talk about daily routines, what you do every day. The action is repeated. Let's learn how to make affirmative statements in the simple present tense. So, first you have the subject, and remember the subject could be a noun or a pronoun. Then you have the verb, and then you have the simple present time expression. So let's use the verb. Do you remember what the verb is for this action? That's right, it's text. I text every day. You text every night. He, which is a pronoun, or John, which is the noun, texts in the morning. She, pronoun, Laura, noun, texts in the afternoon. We text in the evening. You text on the weekends. And they, pronoun, or the noun, the students, text on the weekends. So let's take a look at the verb. Are all the verbs the same? No. Which verbs are different? That's right. The verbs that have the subject he or she, or even it. What is different? There's the letter S. So, when you have a verb with I, no S. With you, no S. But with he, she, and it, there is an S. We, no S. You, no S. And they, no S. So you put an S In the simple present tense, with the subjects he, she, and it.